Hey pals, today we are picking out what I'm going to read in January. So in the latter half of 2024, I started using a TBR jar, or indeed a TBR sugar bowl. I thought it would help give my reading some guidance, a little bit of structure. I was reading enough in those months that I could pick some books from the TBR jar, but still leave myself space for mood reading. The first TBR jar video I did, loads of you watched. The subsequent ones, not so much, so I don't know what happened there. But also, we then ended up in October where I was picking a lot of kind of spooky, Halloween-y reads. I read hardly anything in November, and then similarly for December, I was reading quite seasonally. I read a lot of kind of festive, Christmassy books. So I just sort of fell off the TBR jar wagon. But we are now on that wagon. We are riding all the way to 2026. I have kept all of the prompts that I hadn't picked out yet in the jar, and then also added some new ones, including ones that you left in the comment section of the previous TBR jar videos. I've counted them up without looking at them and reminding myself of what they were, and I think we've got 60 in here. And I wasn't even aiming for that. I was just writing until I got bored. So that works out as me being able to pick out 5 prompts per month, and then I'm aiming in each month to read about 10 books. So it'll be 5 books picked out from the jar and then 5 books that I can just read by whim. I am planning on still using the jar in those seasonal months. I mean, if we get to the latter half of the year and this process is no longer serving me, we will forget about it, but that is the plan. The slight hitch is the Irish Readathon. I'm probably not going to use this for the Irish Readathon, so there will be 5 spare prompts in here. But without further ado, let's give this a little stir and then pick out 5 reading prompts. Okay, so the first one is queer nonfiction. We love it. The second prompt is, okay, so this is one of the older ones that my boyfriend put in when we first created the TBR jar. So the prompt that he's put in is about or featuring a cute dog. I cannot, off the top of my head, I'm not getting anything to mind that has a dog in it. So this might involve some scavenger hunting. The next prompt is first shelf. So just to read a book from the first shelf of my bookcases. Okay, what is next? About siblings. This is also going to need some hunting. And then the final one, a queer romance. So I've picked up 2 queer prompts, which I'm very happy about. So we have a queer nonfiction, which will be super easy. I will take you into my bedroom where the nonfiction shelves are in a couple minutes. It'll be super easy to pick something out for that. About or featuring a cute dog, a book from the first shelf, a book about siblings, and a queer romance. I mean, 3 of these I think will be super easy. A book from the first shelf is just anything from the first shelf. Queer nonfiction and queer romance should be absolutely fine. But about siblings or featuring a dog, well, let's start hunting for them. Okay, so a book from my first shelf, I have picked out Wild Pets by Amber Medland. I picked this one up having never heard of it before when I was on a bookshop trip with my friend Dan. And I remember thinking, oh, this is exactly what I need to read at the minute, and then just didn't read it, and now we are several years later. But this is about Iris, Ezra, and Nance, who are out of university. They seem to have everything going for them, but they're actually swimming against the tide in a number of ways, like navigating friendships, their love lives, their sex lives, etc. All of that stuff that is super turbulent at that time in your life. So this is the first book on my January TBR. Let's go for a queer romance next. For queer romance, I have picked out Loverbirds by Leanne Egan. So this is a young adult queer romance between these 2 girls. It's set in Liverpool, and I think it has a slight enemies to lovers vibes, but in that sense that often happens with girls and young women figuring out their sexuality. It's like they kind of are really irritated by each other because they are secretly very gay. Okay, now on to about siblings and featuring a cute dog. I mean, I'm instinctually going to maybe my children's and YA shelves, but I've already picked out a YA book. Let's have a little look. Okay, so for About Siblings, I have gone for Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. And this one isn't strictly, I guess, about sisterhood, but it's from like the Brown sisters trilogy of romance books. So I'm guessing, you know, the sister characters are going to pop up. I read the first book in the series a couple of years ago and really enjoyed it. And I don't know why I haven't got around to reading this one. So this is for the prompt About Siblings. And going to the children's shelves for a book featuring a cute dog was exactly the right tactic. I scanned through the shelves and I couldn't see anything that was immediately springing out to me that was about a dog. And then the first book that I picked off the children's shelves to take a look at the cover was the Millicent Quibb School of Etiquette for Young Ladies of Mad Science by Kate McKinnon. And there is a cute dog. Look, it's right there. Cute dog. Okay, let's go into the bedroom to the nonfiction shelves to pick out a queer nonfiction. Welcome to the bedroom. This is where the nonfiction lives. Speaking of being a queer, don't you just love this fan that I got from Mighty Hoopla? I mean, straight off the bat, there are like 3 or 4 different books I could pick for this. I'm gonna go for By the Way, The Bisexual Guide to Life by Lois Shearing. Let's start the new year thinking about my own sexuality. But I also think in terms of kind of easing me back into the TBR jar challenge, this is one that I'm gonna find like relatively quick, sort of easy reading. Like it's a topic that I feel quite well versed in, so I don't think it's gonna be me starting the new year with quite like a heavy, difficult nonfiction, if you see what I mean. That was so fun. I had forgotten how much enjoyment I got out of the TBR challenge, and I feel like all of these books are gonna slap. Like this is gonna be such a good start to my reading year. By the time you see this video, I've hopefully already started, if not finished, a couple of these books. A couple, maybe like one. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of them. What books from your shelf would you have picked for this challenge? That's it for me today. I hope you're doing well, and I'll speak to you in my next video.